and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing the meal plan from How Not to Die Cookbook, which I have right next to me, and we're going to do day 6 lunch. So it's a beans and greens quesadilla and a summer salsa. So I'm going to show you how I make it and see if it's any good. For the summer salsa, it's on page 41 of the cookbook, and I can't wait to show you how to make it. It makes 3 cups. And I'm gonna make everything except I'm not putting cilantro. Sorry, not a fan. I feel like cilantro is one of those things you love or you hate, and I cannot get into it. I know it's super good for you, but yeah. And I don't have fresh parsley on hand. I went to a couple different grocery stores, and it's not really like popular from where I'm at right now. But I'm gonna use some dried parsley. So those are the 2 little swaps. And I'm also going to, let me see, not use the jalapeno hot chili pepper to make it spicy. I prefer more mild salsas, so if you like it spicy, go ahead and add that, but I'm not. So those are the 3 little changes, but I'm excited to see how it turns out. For the summer salsa, we have red onions, lots of tomatoes, parsley flakes. You can get fresh parsley, but I'm using dry. I have an orange bell pepper, the savory spice blend, and a lime. So I'm gonna mix all this together, and then it's gonna go with our lunch today. But overall, this was super easy, just a little bit of chopping. So this is what it looks like when it's all mixed up, and I think it's pretty good. I really like a chunky salsa. You could put it in the food processor if you want it to be more blended, but I do like how it turned out, and I think it matches the picture pretty well, so overall I'd say this is a win. So I'm going to make the second part to lunch, and we're gonna eat this with the second part. So for the beans and greens quesadilla, I'm not gonna show you the exact amounts because again I want you to go and buy the actual cookbook, but I'll tell you what's in it. So we have red onion, I have these cannelli white beans, I buy the no salt added if I'm not gonna make them myself. I have minced garlic, I have our summer salsa I just showed you guys how to make. I have tomatoes and a bunch of kale, nutritional yeast, that savory spice blend that you can make. I could add healthy hot sauce and chili powder, but I'm gonna leave those 2 out for right now, and I can add that later if I want to bump up the heat. But I will show you guys how to put together. Also for the 100% whole grain tortillas, I do have these Ezekiel bread tortillas. Now, these are the closest thing I could find to like a whole grain tortilla. If you know any other kind, please let me know. These, if you've used them before, break really easily, and they have salt in them still, not very much. Let's see if I can pull up the ingredients for you guys. And I find these in the refrigerator section in my grocery. Let's see if it'll focus. So the ingredients are pretty good besides the salt at the very end. And let's see, I'll show you guys. So there's 140, micrograms of sodium in this, but everything else is pretty good, but they do break pretty easy. So if you know of another whole grain tortilla, please let me know. I'm gonna use these today, and I use these when I want to wrap, but I'm still looking for a better option in case you know one or something different. But I'm going to show you how to put all this together to make that. So it's time to put this all together into our quesadilla. So I'm taking 1/4 cup of water into my pot. I'm going to cook this over medium heat, and I'm going to add the garlic and onion to soften for about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to add my kale and tomatoes and cook till the greens are tender. So I'm going to go do that now. While our onion and garlic and the kale and tomatoes are going to go in just a minute, I'm going to work on the bean part. So it's telling me to mash up our beans, which I love doing for cannelli beans, and stir nutritional yeast. I didn't do chili powder, you do that now. The savory spice blend, and then the hot sauce. Again, if you wanted to make it more spicy, you could just do that at the end, so that's what I would suggest. And if you have somebody who doesn't like spice, you can always like cut your quesadillas and then add it as you'd like. So I'm gonna mash these up for it to serve up mashed, so it turns out pretty good. I'm gonna add my nutritional yeast. And my savory spice blend. Okay, so I have that done, mixed well. And we are going to divide the filling on the tortillas, and then we're going to cook the tortilla just a little bit. We're going to add both the fillings in, and it should be ready to go. So that was overall pretty easy. When do I add the salsa? Okay, at the end, you just add salsa like on top for topping. And again, look how beautiful that salsa looks. I don't know if you can tell by the camera, but it is like popping with color. To make our tortillas, what I do is I take this out of the fridge and let it warm up a little bit, and then hopefully whenever I take these apart they won't stick. They do like to stick to one another, so I'm just like kind of patient with it, and it comes off pretty much intact. So take all of them out and do this. So I'm going to do a bottom one and a top one. Again, just kind of patient with it and it will come off, it won't rip, but I have ripped them in the past when you're kind of patient. So I'm gonna try to find two that are the same size. So the first one I put out was like super big. So we are going to use these two, they kind of match. I'm gonna put these back in here and back in the fridge. If you keep it in the fridge, it'll stay fresh a lot longer, and they last pretty long. But again, if you know of any other wraps, I know Engine 2 has a wrap, and I've tried that, and it's pretty good, kind of the same. But I've never found like a whole grain tortilla that didn't taste, you know, like when you think of tortillas, they want to be soft and flour-like. I'm not sure where they found the tortillas or if they made them in the cookbook, but they look a little different than mine. Mine are a little bit darker. So if you know of anyone who has a different one than the Ezekiel or the Engine 2, leave me a comment because I would love to know. Also, if you share this and Dr. Greger finds it, I would love to know which whole grain tortilla you used in your cookbook, because yeah, these sometimes taste rubber-like. They don't have that consistency of the like flour tortilla. I know these are better for you, but these have no oil on them. Okay, so I'm gonna add the fillings. So I'm gonna add our beans first, right? Do I add the filling? Okay, so I'm gonna add the filling. So this is our beans. So I'm adding our filling to our quesadilla. I'll show you guys a close-up once I'm done. Just kind of spreading it out evenly across. And again, you could eat this without the flour tortilla if you wanted to make like a side of rice and do kind of like a Mexican inspired dish. You don't have to do it on a tortilla. So again, if you can't find, this is what I do is you have to work with what you have. Like you might have most of these items in your pantry or in your kitchen, but then you don't have the tortilla. I wouldn't go to the store and buy it. What I would do is I would make rice or quinoa or whatever whole grain you want to substitute the tortilla, and it is exactly the same nutrition wise. You don't have to worry about like, I'm not getting in those whole grains. You are, as long as you substitute for it. So I could do like the summer salsa, the bean dip, even it cooked the way we were gonna put it in here, and put it all like kind of in a bowl, and I'm sure that would be really good. I'm just showing you guys like kind of what the cookbook says. If I were to be honest, I probably would just do that instead of using these Ezekiel, because again, they kind of have a rubbery texture that I'm not that crazy about. I buy them on rare occasion, but they don't really, I don't know, when you think of a tortilla, it doesn't really give you that, you know, that when you go to like, not Chipotle, but something like that, and you get, or a Mexican restaurant, you get like a burrito, you know, you want it to be flexible, and you know, these just sometimes aren't. So I spread the bean mixture all over one of our Ezekiel bread tortilla. I'm going to add the kale that's cooked in the tomatoes, and the garlic and onion was in here as well. And you don't want to add the liquid to it, so we just want to add all of our good stuff. So just, you know, you might want to drain off a little bit of liquid, probably from the tomatoes. I'm going to try to get this in the middle. Tortilla is looking packed. Okay. Spread this out now. Kind of mash it down with my fork. Try to cut those tomato chunks. I probably should have cut them a little bit smaller, the extra ones. That way with the kale cooking. I left them a little chunky, but that'll be okay. Alright, so that is what it looks like. And I'm gonna put our other half on top. And then I'm gonna put this on a non-stick skillet and cook it, and then hopefully I will flip it okay. I'm not really sure what's gonna be like the glue before I was plant-based, you know, cheese would kind of hold it all together. So I'm just gonna be real careful when I flip it, because it was a packed quesadilla. I was pretty impressed with how it turned out. I cut it with a pizza cutter and it did turn out pretty nice. Again, these are kind of loaded, but looks pretty good. You just have to kind of be careful when you eat it so it doesn't fall apart. But it toasted a little bit better. I think toasting it is key if you can. Make sure you can flip it pretty nice. And I'm gonna add salsa on top and try it for you guys. But overall, I think these turned out pretty good. I'm gonna try it on camera. I put some of our summer salsa on top with the quesadillas. So I'm gonna give it a try for you guys. Excuse me if this is messy. This is a little bit heavier to pick up. This is a pretty messy dish, so I'm gonna give it a try. Yeah, very good. You could do it on the quesadilla or with a whole grain. Summer salsa makes it, so don't forget the salsa. You can make it hot by adding hot sauce. I would use a whole grain if you just want to mash it up and use a whole grain. The tortillas are better when they're warm, so don't leave out, you know, don't forget that special key thing. And also make sure you heat up your kale so it's not super, you know, hard when you chew. But I think this is a really great one, and I think I would give it 2 thumbs up. And I will be making this again. Super colorful, you're getting all that nutrition. I'm so excited for dinner, so stay tuned. Day 6 dinner will be out next week. I'm gonna do dinner and dessert, and that dessert, let me tell you, looks pretty good. So I will see you guys in the next one. Please subscribe if you have not. Make sure, because I'm doing a Daily Dozen Challenge collab with a bunch of other YouTubers coming up, so you don't want to miss that. And again, I'm doing the How Not to Die Cookbook meal plan, so you don't want to miss it. I'm doing all 14 days. This is only day 6. So much more to come. So many great ideas to get this Daily Dozen in. I'm going to go enjoy this with my salsa, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.